we're going to debut a new segment of yours. It's called Feelin' Fine. Let's start with Clemson. What has to happen for Dabo Swinney to be feeling fine at the end of this season?
Well, I think he needs to get to the playoffs again and maybe make a serious run. Last year, they snuck in. I mean, I say they snuck in because they won the ACC Conference Championship game against SMU and probably robbed Alabama of a berth that probably really didn't even deserve. But this year, with Cade Klubnik at quarterback, I think expectations are through the roof in Death Valley, and I strongly believe they'll make a serious run at the title.
How about Alabama entering year 2 of the Kalen DeBoer era? What do he and the Crimson Tide have to do in order to be feeling fine at the end of the season?
Well, they have won the offseason. They have recruited at an elite level, very similar to what Nick Saban did during his 17-year run. But I think that they have to get to the playoffs. Missing it last year in the first 12-team iteration was a big blow. This year they must get in. And quite frankly, I think they'll make a serious run too, just like Clemson.
All right, and out in Boulder, new-look team for Deion Sanders at Colorado. What has to happen for the Buffaloes to be feeling fine at season's end?
Well, I think they need a good season. Last year was disappointing at 9 because I think people expected a playoff run with 2 of the generational players of all time. This year, I think 7 or 8 would be a good season. A bowl game would probably be icing on the cake. And maybe keep Deion Sanders around as opposed to all the rumors that have him going elsewhere.
All right, well, Deion did speak yesterday during Big 12 Media Day, and he was asked about losing Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders to the NFL. He thinks Colorado is going to be just fine.
We won't have those 2 phenomenal players, but we will have a phenomenal team. We're not as good individually, but we're better collectively.
Okay.
It's easier for me, man.
Okay, why?
Because I don't have to be 2 things. I don't have to be the father and the coach.
Yeah.
Now I could just be the coach.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who's ever coached their kid understands a little bit, I think, about that feeling. Greg, can Deion win without those star players that he's had ever since he got to Colorado?
Then he can, and I think what was lost last year and what was, I think, a pretty good season. I know Paul said it was somewhat disappointing. I would actually quite take the other side because last year, they made such progress on both offense and defense. They improved by 6 points a game offensively and improved by 12 points a game defensively. And it was more than just Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. Now, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, probably worth 2 or 3 games. No doubt about it. Now it's about making sure that the other aspects of the team that improved greatly from year 1 in the prime era to year 2, now those are going to come to the forefront, and more of an onus and an emphasis will be highlighting those constant improvements. So I think they're going to be pretty solid and competitive in what is a very deep and competitive Big 12.
Paul, he's had Shedeur Sanders, he's had Travis Hunter sort of ever since he's kind of come on the scene as a coach. So without those guys, is this a prove-it year for Deion?
I don't think Deion really has anything left to prove. They may not have made the playoffs, which was unrealistic in some respects last year, but they proved that they are a very high-quality team, something I frankly didn't think was possible when Deion got there in this short a period of time. So I think saying that Deion Sanders needs to prove anything is wrong. I just think he needs to show some consistency and get this program, as he said, more of a collective unit because the 2 stars are gone. But can he coach good players as opposed to exceptional players, one of whom was his son? That's the question.
But we'll find out. Greg, when you look at Colorado this year, what do you think would qualify as a successful season for them this year?
I think make it to the postseason, Dan. I mean, I really look at it, and as much as obviously a lot of what you guys do on Get Up is NFL. In the NFL, it's an 8-8 league, right? That's kind of what the Big 12 is. I mean, every single team, the margins are crazy thin. So the emphasis is on coaching and winning in the margins. Third down, red zone execution, turnovers. It's not like the SEC and the Big 10 where you have the juggernauts at the top and the teams that really can't keep up at the bottom. Teams 1 through 16 in the Big 12 are insanely deep. So if Deion can rip off a good win against Georgia Tech in the non-conference and then find a way to get to 500 in the Big 12 and get to the postseason, I think that'd be a tremendous success in year 3.
All right, well, while the new-look Buffaloes were obviously a major source of the questions that Deion faced at Big 12 Media Days. He also was asked about college football in general and had some interesting things to say about the potential for a salary cap. Take a listen.
I wish it was a cap. You know, like the top of the line player makes this, and if you're not that type of guy, you know you're not going to make that. That's what the NFL does. So the problem is you got a guy that's not that darn good, but he could go to another school and they give him $500,000, and you can't compete with that. That don't make sense. And all you have to do is look at the playoffs and see what those teams spent, and you understand darn near why they're in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. It's kind of hard to compete with somebody who's giving $25-30 million to a darn freshman class.
Paul, I feel like they just started letting these guys get paid, period, and now Deion wants to cap it. What do you think he's right? What do you think?
Well, he's not the only one who would like to put a cap on it, but right now there's so many issues in college football that getting to a cap may happen one day, but I think they need to solve some more basic problems first. I mean, I just love Deion for a lot of reasons, but especially how he just changes the narrative depending on who is on his team. I mean, those two guys that he had last year, Shedeur and Travis, could have left and broken everybody's bank and would have had he not had that hold over them. So I just think Deion needs to stick to coaching football. Let the college football leaders screw up the game the way they have already.
What do you think, Greg?
It's just unrealistic at this point. I do think at some point there'll be donor fatigue. I do think at some point there will be more perimeters in place. And I'm cautiously optimistic that there will be competitive balance across the college football landscape. But the reality is college football's never been fair. It's like the Major League Baseball. That's what it is. I mean, we don't live in a salary cap world in college football. Those with resources that can spend win. The good news is, just like in baseball, the Yankees don't win the World Series every year. The Tampa Bay Rays, who have one of the smallest payrolls, compete in the playoffs regularly and are at times much better than those of their big spending counterparts in the Red Sox and the Yankees. So I think college football, yes, it's nice to have resources, but it can also work against you.